Back in April, the Switch 2 Direct revealed a brand new DK game called donkeykongbananza. The last time we got a new DK game was Tropical Freeze, and that was released 11 years ago. Man, it's like we get a new Donkey Kong game every decade or so. This new DK game will be an open world platformer. The last 3D platformer we got from DK was from Donkey Kong 64, which was released back in 1999. That was 26 years ago. Gosh, I feel old. So it's about freaking time we finally get another 3D adventure game with Donkey Kong. Not too long ago, Nintendo released a dedicated Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct. And I gotta say, they knocked it out of the park. We get new game mechanics, new power-ups, and has bonus levels that are remakes of the original 2D side-scrolling levels from the Donkey Kong Country trilogy games. For the first time, this game will feature voice acting, primarily with Pauline doing most of the talking. I'm not sure if the other characters will receive voice acting as well, or if it will be just limited to Pauline. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm very excited, and I can't believe DK Bananza is almost here. There's so much happening in this game that I just had to talk about it. So let's dive into it. From what we were shown in the trailers, the plot centers around DK going to Ingot Isle to find some golden bananas. But things quickly go awry. Voidco plummets Ingot Isle underground. They want to steal all the golden bananas and reach the planet's core to make a wish for themselves. While underground, DK stumbles upon Oddrock, who becomes his new companion, only to discover it was young Pauline all along. Pauline wants to return to the surface, so DK and Pauline work together to stop Voidco from reaching the planet's core to make the wish, and find a way to return Pauline to the surface. So essentially, the story combines elements of Journey to the Center of the Earth with Journey to the West, a Buddhist mythology tale featuring Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. For a while, I've been watching various DK Bananza related videos, because I was excited about the game and wanted to learn more about it. I came across some YouTube videos featuring Uncle Al and Don't Mind Joe. They both theorized that DK Bananza contains several Journey to the West inspirations.
Sun Wukong is one of the most popular mythological figures in the world. Everybody knows the Monkey King. So if you're going to take a famous monkey game like Donkey Kong, doesn't it make sense to use famous monkey myth? I would think so. And these three in Voidco are dead ringers for the Celestial Monkey. Now, to be completely fair, the Celestial Monkeys don't really have a huge part in Journey to the West. The macaque withstanding, of course, he does. But the others, not so much. Celestial monkeys, right? Celestial being another thing that has to do with space. So I do think that Voidco may come from outer space. I mean, why not? The rabbits in Odyssey came from the moon, and these guys arrived on some kind of weird meteor spaceship. Having them come from space seems to make sense. Also, there's the little symbols that are all over everything. Now, there are these weird little circles. The first thing they remind me of is like crop circles. I'm not gonna lie. They have that weird alien language motif thing that just makes me visualize space.
King was also known to have used disguises in the Journey to the West for some trickery. Need I say anything more about this connection? Now, here's something interesting to note as well. The King was like a sworn brother to Sun Wukong in the story that eventually betrays him to try and obtain his own ambitions. He becomes more like a rival to Wukong, rather than a full-blown evil antagonist. Nintendo seems to potentially be pushing this rival thing with K. Rool over a full-blown nemesis, as we can see with these two Smash Bros. Trailers. The K. Rool reveal was straight up titled The Rivals, and in the Banjo trailer, he's just hanging out with DK and Diddy. It almost seems like Nintendo wants to push K. Rool as more of like a DDD rather than a Ganon or Bowser. Adding to this, we do believe that Cranky is referring specifically to King K. Rool with his dialogue, and within his dialogue, he mentions K. Rool specifically being a rival to DK.
To their credit, their theories are somewhat accurate, as there is evidence indicating references to Journey to the West within the game. If you're interested in exploring these theories further, I'll include links to their videos in the video description. I highly recommend that you guys check it out. They're really good. During the gameplay, it shows Donkey Kong gaining brand new transformations, such as Kong Bonanza, Zebra Bonanza, and Ostrich Bonanza. You can transform into different animals seamlessly, just like how Sun Wukong did when he transformed into different animals. Basically, DK is portrayed as Sun Wukong, and Pauline acts as a stand-in for Tang Sanzang, the monk, or represents another character who accompanies Sun Wukong on his journey. Of course, this won't be a one-on-one retelling of Journey to the West, but rather a unique story inspired by it, featuring Donkey Kong and Pauline. I'm very curious to see how this new story will unfold and how enjoyable the gameplay will be. Speaking of gameplay, the world of DK Bananza is vast, with many places to explore. I wouldn't be surprised if we encounter a lot of backtracking, since there are areas we might not be able to access right away and we'll have to return later. Fortunately, with all this traveling back and forth, there's a way to teleport between the areas you've already visited by using the elevators. Besides DK's usual abilities, such as smashing, bashing, climbing, rolling, and throwing, you also learn new skills like dive punch, hand slap to collect scattered items, or use it as a sonar to detect hidden items.
But wait! There's more!
Carrying off terrain, swinging chunks of rocks and using them as a weapon, chunk jumping to access a double jump, and turf surfing. And what's this? A skill tree in my Donkey Kong game? Sounds intriguing. You can use these skill points to enhance DK's existing abilities or unlock new skills. Additionally, these skill points can also be invested in his Bonanza forms. At some point, you meet the elders of each layer and they grant DK a new Bonanza ability. With Pauline's singing power helping him, DK unlocks his Bonanza transformations. The first is Kong Bananza. I think it's safe to say that DK has become a Super Saiyan. I really like how distinctive the design looks, as it's not just another golden form like Supersonic or Giga Cat Mario. Now don't get me wrong, those super forms look really cool on their own, but Nintendo has gone out of their way to make sure DK's super form feel truly special and one of a kind. And you know what? I think they've succeeded. The bananas on his head resemble dreadlocks, giving him a distinct look. Kong Bonanza possesses super strength, allowing him to power through enemies and terrain with ease. The Zebra Bonanza is even more outrageous. It's really hilarious to see Donkey Kong transform into a super beefed up zebra, with bananas forming his mane and surrounding his ankles. This form grants him the ability to run on water, move at super fast speeds, and it's especially useful when crossing crumbling platforms. As for the Ostrich Bonanza, it's the most ridiculous transformation of them all. The banana surrounding his neck and on his head, and attached beneath his arms serving as feathers, creating a truly absurd look. Seeing DK turn into a muscular ostrich is both silly and hilarious. This form allows him to fly through the air and drop egg bombs on enemies, adding a fun and chaotic twist to the gameplay. Of course, these transformations have a time limit. To regain your Bonanza form, you need to build up your Banergy by collecting plenty of gold. What's even better is that you can switch seamlessly between all three transformations, which is pretty cool. Now this has me wondering, will there be more Bonanza transformations beyond those we've seen so far? I certainly hope so. A YouTuber named Too Crispy theorizes how there are 2 extra slots for 2 more transformations. He also theorized that each Bonanza form represent the DK crew's abilities and how they might hint at what the other additional Bonanza forms could be. For example, each DK crew member has an ability that reflects their personality and how they relate to each Bonanza animal transformation.
To tell you to pick one animal that most matches the adjective lanky, what would it be? Take orangutans out of the picture. What is the definition of lanky? Oxford Dictionary classifies it as a person who is ungracefully thin and tall. Sounds an awful lot like a giraffe to me. And yes, that is what I am proposing, that each member of the DK crew is being represented in Donkey Kong Bonanza through the transformations. That there is an elephant Bonanza to represent Chunky Kong and his abilities from Donkey Kong 64.
As far as we know, each layer corresponds to a different species and their respective elder. One layer represents the Kongs, another the zebras, and the third the ostriches. Each elder grants a new transformation ability. The Kong Bonanza is essentially an upgraded version of Donkey Kong. Zebra Bonanza is speedy and reflects Diddy Kong's super fast running ability. There's a possibility of a Giraffe Bonanza, which could allow DK to stretch to higher places or squeeze into tighter spaces. Essentially, a stretch and squash ability. As for Chunky Kong, so he might represent the Elephant Bonanza. This could grant an electric ability. The Elephant Bonanza ability could be an electrical ground pound that sends out huge shockwaves to stun and knock out enemies. He could use his trunk to hold water and then spit it out to destroy terrain or knock down enemies, or use it to solve puzzles. Interestingly enough, there are other layers featuring giraffe and elephant themes.
I found this image, and if there was any doubt in your mind as to what was in the background of that gold clip before, here you go. I'll also bring your attention to, this is very interesting, Pauline in this picture, who is wearing an elephant-themed clothing item. Another thing tying these creatures back to being NPCs. Because the only animals that we've seen represented in Pauline's clothing are the NPCs. They also seem to have some kind of electrical theme. That would not be surprised at all if his theming is actually around the color green. Because look in the background, look at these rocks, look at the lighting, look at the clothing that Pauline is wearing. A lot of it points to that. And if you look at all these colors together, they form a really satisfying color palette, I think. I would not be surprised if this is what they actually look like.
And even the fractones within those layers resemble giraffes and elephants, adding further support to this intriguing theory. We can get a clear idea of what the Elephant Bonanza would look like thanks to BroMoJumbo on Twitter, who created some amazing concept art of DK transforming into various Bonanza animals. I know this sounds pretty crazy, but given how many cartoony elements are in the game, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. I highly recommend checking out Too Crispy's Wild Theory. The link to the video will be in the description below. Now, it wouldn't be a Donkey Kong game without some collectibles. There's gold to gather, which helps build up your Bananergy for the Bonanza forms. You can also use the gold to purchase useful items at the Stuff Shop, collect Banandium chips that can be traded in for Banandium gems at the Chip Exchange. You can find fossils and exchange them for costumes for DK and young Pauline at the Style Shop. These costumes have different stats and will affect DK's and young Pauline's abilities differently in-game. You can even dye DK's fur for a personalized look. Want to listen to some music? Find some vinyl records to unlock familiar Donkey Kong tunes, and locate resting spots to relax, recover your health, and enjoy the music you've collected with the music player. And yes, there's even amiibo support in this game. All the DK amiibos are compatible and will unlock cool items like the Kong letters and other collectibles. You can also use other amiibos to receive random items. Of course, DK Bananza will have its own original amiibo, the DK and Pauline amiibo, which looks pretty neat. It unlocks a diva outfit for Pauline, but at $30, that price might be a bit too steep for just one amiibo. There will be different types of challenge course ruins that you will need to find throughout the game. These are essentially bonus levels. You can find these bonus levels in ancient ruins that have void code tape blocking the entrances. Some bonus courses will be throwback levels, remakes of the original Donkey Kong arcade game and the Donkey Kong Country series. Other bonus courses will feature unique challenges, and you'll also have the opportunity to use your Bonanza transformations. Of course, no Donkey Kong game is complete without a two-player co-op mode. You can play locally or online. There's also a game share feature. While one person owns the game, the other can join in without needing to own a copy. Additionally, the game includes an assist mode, which acts as a guide to show players where they need to go next. It also reduces the damage taken when hit by enemies. And then there's the DK Artist mode, which is essentially an art studio where you could carve out a rock, create designs, and paint it. Last but not least, there's a photo mode that allows you to capture snapshots of exciting scenes or take pictures of DK and Pauline in their costumes, with filters to customize your shots. Young Pauline was one of the most surprising revelations in this game. She was accidentally leaked early from the Korean Nintendo website, revealing a partial image of young Pauline hanging onto DK's tie. At the time, there was a lot of speculation about her. Fans wondered whether she was Pauline's daughter, niece, or perhaps Pauline herself, but de-aged. Before the DK Bananza Direct, she didn't have an official name. Some people affectionately nicknamed her Smalline. Okay, I'm gonna be calling her Smalline for the rest of this video, but I might occasionally call her Pauline. Another popular theory was that Smalline might have a connection to Odd Rock, since she wore a purple bracelet and headband that matched the exact same color of Odd Rock. When the DK Bananza Direct aired, it turns out Odd Rock was Smalline all along. She was transformed into Odd Rock by Voidco. Okay, I have so many questions about this. In the Nintendo Today app, it states that Pauline is 13 years old, but why is she depicted as a kid in this game? Is this game a soft reboot? A prequel? Maybe she was de-aged and has amnesia. Could Voidco be involved? After all, they did kidnap her for a reason. If this is a prequel, it might conflict with the lore from the other Donkey Kong games. My guess is she was de-aged by Voidco's magic and lost some of her memories. Of course, I could be completely wrong and it might be something entirely different. Perhaps time travel is involved. A YouTuber named Topbananafrosty has theorized that Smalline might be part of a time displacement theory.
I believe Pauline is being pulled from 13, which is pre-DK. That's the important part, pre-DK, pre-arcade DK. And I think by the end, he's going to wish her back to here. Pauline's making a strict loop. I believe Bonanza takes place after Odyssey, but it is a prequel in that it explains why Pauline made everything DKC themed in New Donk City, because she's time displaced. We are seeing a Pauline that has already existed in this unit. Like, Pauline's the way she is because she was meant to be here, and we're putting her back, and this explains why she's fond of DK. Does that make any sense? She's fond of DK because she's fond of DK3, not Cranky Kong, because of Bonanza. K. Rool's time traveling. He's trying to get to the core. Time travel with Pauline pre-DK to post Odyssey, Bonanza, Bayonetta's influence for some reason, and all of this is still with the Journey to the West theory.
Now, time travel isn't a new concept in the Super Mario universe, and it has been introduced in other games, such as Mario & Luigi Partners in Time, Yoshi's Island DS, and Yoshi's New Island on the 3DS. Therefore, time travel could potentially occur. Or maybe we're just overthinking this a bit too much. Making fun and wacky theories is entertaining, but sometimes we get caught up in them that we end up taking those theories way too seriously. This girl could simply be Pauline's daughter. Nothing more complicated than that. No convoluted retcons of the Donkey Kong lore, no de-aging Pauline with amnesia, and certainly no time-traveling shenanigans. Just straightforwardly being Pauline's daughter, whose name happens to be Pauline Jr. Perhaps Nintendo is holding this reveal until the very end of the game. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. When watching the gameplay footage, DK is seen fighting the Crocoids, a new enemy type constructed by Grumpy Kong. Upon removing their rocky shells, it becomes apparent that the crocoids have a golden skeletal form resembling the Kremlings. I believe there's a good chance that the Kremlings might actually be part of this game, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. Other Donkey Kong fans have also theorized this idea. Not to mention, there are numerous references to previous Donkey Kong titles. So I have to wonder, why would Grumpy Kong go to the trouble of creating these enemies to look like the Kremlings if they weren't meant to be connected? When you talk to Cranky Kong, he also brings up that someone stole the banana horde from DK Isle and brought it over to Ingot Isle. In the original Donkey Kong Country series, King K. Rool is known for stealing DK's banana horde. If he was talking about Voidco, their icons would have popped up in the conversation, but they don't. So it's gotta be King K. Rool. There have been theories online suggesting that King K. Rool could appear in this game. Some speculate that Voidco is secretly working with him, or that Void Kong is actually King K. Rool in disguise. On top of that, Void Kong has distinctive features: gold teeth, a gold vest, bulging eyeballs. In contrast, King K. Rool is often depicted with a large bulging eyes and red veins, has a golden belly, and wears a golden crown. They both have interest in gold. To go even further, characters like Grumpy Kong and Poppy Kong follow the typical Donkey Kong naming pattern, specifically names that rhyme with donkey and end with Y or IE, such as Diddy and Dixie, for example. However, Void Kong's name doesn't follow this pattern. I mean, they could have called him Voidy Kong, but that would sound stupid. The word void means emptiness, or not valid or legally binding, which could symbolize that he's a fake or an imposter. This opens the possibility that Void Kong is actually King K. Rool in disguise, possibly using magic to transform into Void Kong to deceive Donkey Kong, considering K. Rool's history of disguises in the Donkey Kong Country trilogy. So it's a plausible theory. Of course, this theory could be completely wrong and Voidco might be just an entirely new character of his own, and that he's not King K. Rool, which is perfectly fine. I wouldn't mind a new original villain, although the fact that he's named Void raises some questions about his true nature and purpose, making his role in the story very mysterious and intriguing to consider. I know it's pure copium at this point, but still, I sincerely hope that King K. Rool is in this game. Hearing the new remixes of the classic DK music is already great so far, especially Ramby's theme. It's such a good remix. I've already heard that Pauline sings unique themes for each Bonanza transformations, which adds a nice punchy and catchy beat to those songs. And also helps Kong Bonanza, Zebra Bonanza, and Ostrich Bonanza to stand out, and are distinct from one another. It makes you want to bop your head along with the music, based it on what I've heard from the trailers and the gameplay footage. They even added in a remix of the DK rap. It's a different variation of the DK rap, but it's still a nice nod to the DK rap itself. They even took the classic melody from the original Donkey Kong arcade theme and created a beautiful piano version of it. They even added lyrics to it, which gives it a what if this video game soundtrack had lyrics. I have a feeling this song will tug at the heartstrings of gamers, especially since you've been traveling with Smalline as your companion throughout this journey. It's going to be a truly wholesome ending that might even bring a tear to your eye. I wanted to release this video sooner, but it took a long time to finish, but it's done. I'm glad. Overall, I'm excited for this game. Unfortunately, I don't have a Switch 2, because I usually don't buy brand new consoles at launch, as launch consoles tend to have bugs, glitches, or other issues that can affect early adopters. I also feel mixed about the Switch 2, especially regarding the prices of the new games and accessories and other concerns. But that's another story for another day. As for the new Donkey Kong game, I'll probably just watch someone else play it on YouTube. I like how this game is a love letter to all things Donkey Kong. It's great to see DK getting more recognition nowadays, especially after being featured in the Super Mario Bros. Animated film and having his own section in the Super Nintendo World theme park. I would also like to thank the DK Theorists for pointing out things that we all didn't notice the first time when we watched the trailers. So kudos to you guys! Link to their videos will be in the video description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time!